Let's get into it.
What's up, everybody? This is SMH Podcast. I am your host, Shania. Thank you for joining me today. I want to give a big shout out to all my listeners right now. I want to appreciate everybody that take the time out to subscribe and listen to my podcast. I love all of you guys, and I just can't wait for the future of this podcast. So please continue to subscribe, listen to me, follow me on social media. You know I'm going to give it to you. My Instagram is SMH Podcast 96. Yes, that is SMH Podcast 96. And my Twitter is SMH Podcast 1. That is the @ for it, SMH Podcast 1. And you can also follow me on TikTok. My TikTok is SMH_photography 96 because I have a photography business if y'all didn't know. So, we're going to get into the episode. This is a very special episode because we're talking about the Black Panther Party. And we're doing a movie review on the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. So, if you guys haven't watched it, spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you what happens in it. So, if you don't want to listen to it, if you haven't watched the movie yet, just click off. But if you still don't care, because we all know how it ends, sadly it ends with the death of Fred Hampton, the Black Panther Party chairman in Chicago, Illinois, gets killed by the FBI. He was actually infiltrated. They had hired, that's the whole basis of the movie, if you guys didn't know, that they hired somebody. His name was William O'Neill. He was a spy for the FBI. He did like a little petty crime, so they used him to infiltrate the Black Panther Party, and it ended up leading to Fred Hampton's death. So let's get into the episode. Like I said, if you haven't seen the movie, it's a really great movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. I think it gave it a great name because if you don't know who Fred Hampton is, he was an activist. He was not just an activist, he was a socialist as well. And for a lot of people who don't know what socialism is, America hates it, America hates socialism. Socialism is a political and economic theory of social organizations which advocates the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by a community as a whole. So basically, they provide everything for you, they give everything for you, and they make sure everything is set for you pretty much. So you don't have any control over what happens, you don't have any say so on what happens. It's pretty much these people make up the things for you. Now America hates that because we are a capitalism country, and what a capitalism is an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industries are controlled by private owners or for profit rather than by the state. So pretty much, if you own what you have, you get to sell it, and you can sell it to other people, and other people can buy it from you, and you can buy their stuff, and pretty much sales and trade, pretty much. We're a sales and trade type people. We don't like socialism because that's pretty much control and blah, blah, blah. You know America. But I don't think it's really that much of a bad idea if it's done the right way. But Fred Hampton was a Black Panther leader in Chicago, Illinois, and he was all about the people. He loved the people. He was for the people. He did everything to make sure that the people, not just his people, but the people around him who were, ridiculed, oppressed, they were discriminated against, segregated against, that they had the opportunity to get the things that they needed as well. Because if we can look at America's past, America has done a lot of minorities, and even non-minorities in America dirty, just dirty. I mean, the movie was based in the most racist time of all for America. Everybody hated Black people just because of the color of their skin. They, if you weren't white, pretty much you were different, and they hated you, and they tried everything in their power to try to get you. I mean, the fact that the FBI hired somebody to help them kill this 21-year-old leader who was just trying to do some good in his community and also bring people together. That was his whole thing. He just wanted to bring people together. The fact that they killed him is just, beyond me. Why is they labeled him as a terrorist pretty much, in the movie. They labeled him, it's not just in the movie because it's based on real events. They labeled him as a terrorist for whatever reason because he tried to bring people together. And it's sad to say it, but they did the same thing to Martin and Malcolm. Martin and Malcolm were also found to be assassinated by the FBI. President Nixon at that time just had this weird, crazy thing where he just wanted to be in everybody's business, and how crazy it is that he gets impeached for the same thing. But that's another story for another day. We're going to get into the movie. Like I said, it was a great movie. I loved how the movie was, the actors in the movie were phenomenal. I love the actors in the movie. Most of us know who they are. The leading roles, Daniel, I don't know his last name, but he played Fred Hampton. He was also in the movie Get Out. And then also Lakeith Stanfield. He played William O'Neill. I'm not a fan of William O'Neill, but he did a great part for his role in the movie. I'm going to say that because I like him as an actor. I did not like him in his role in the movie because it was like the dude was just facing 5 years in jail, really, over a crime that he committed because he was impersonating an FBI agent. That's what he got in trouble for. He impersonated an FBI agent, tried to steal somebody's car, and took a joyride, and then got caught pretty much. So the FBI took that way for them, and he was a black man. So they used him like, okay, well, we're going to use you to do what we need you to do, because they were trying to, they wanted to stop the Black Panther Party pretty much. They wanted to try to infiltrate the Black Panther Party to try to break them up pretty much. So they used this guy to get to know everybody. He was really close friends with Fred Hampton. He knew him, like he was inspired by him, and he was even promoted to head of security. So for the Black Panther Party, and the FBI was just doing them dirty. Really, they were trying everything in their power just to try to break the whole group up. Pretty much, like they arrested Fred Hampton for $71 of ice cream that was supposedly that he stole. Like, and then he was facing like 3 to 5 years for that. Like, he supposedly stole ice cream, and now he's going to jail for 3 to 5 years. Like, that was the type of mess that they were pulling. Like, you don't get 3 to 5 years for stealing less than $100 worth of ice cream. Like, that is just ridiculous. But they were trying everything in their power to try to break him up. I mean, even the leader, Huey P. Newton, if you don't know who Huey P. Newton, I'm so sorry, y'all. It's hard to say that really fast. I talk kind of fast, y'all. But Huey P. Newton he created the Black Panther Party in Oakland, California. And pretty much the FBI was after him too, and what they tried to do was just pin a bunch of murders and all that on him, to try to lock him up and all that. And every time his jury would be hung, or, they would dismiss his case because they couldn't find any evidence and blah, blah, blah. It was just like they used tactics to try to pretty much bring a black man down any way that they could. And they knew that using the police, because the police was just always so bad to black people, that, they were going to use them by any means necessary. So they were literally just picking on them, honestly. Like, the FBI was just literally picking on them. And William O'Neill in the movie, who was played by Lakeith Stanfield, he pretty much helped them murder Fred Hampton. So he was the informant. He, told them everything that was going on, the things that they were doing, places that they were going. They also were trying to bring groups like the Patriot they were called the Young Patriots, who were just like a bunch of disadvantaged white people in America who felt like they were left out and wanted to be a part of, America, because America had that whole rich and poor group. So they were labeled as like the poor white people, and they just felt like they were being treated unfairly. Then they met up with the Chicano group to also bring them in. So they were like a whole like big political group who wanted more for their people, who wanted to be accepted by America. So they decided to basically, we're going to provide all this stuff for us. Like, that was a part of the whole Black Panther thing. They started food programs for children, health clinics. They also, if you guys didn't know, they helped assist during traffic stops with police and all that, to make sure that the police were doing it the right way, making sure that they were stopping people and reading them the rights, and not just, doing whatever they wanted to them. They showed up with their guns and all that because they could bear arms. That's a part of our rights. So I thought it was just really cool that they all just were trying to come together in a really hard time where people were being just being targeted against because of the color of their skin, and for no other reason but that. So as the movie goes on, Fred, he goes to jail. After he gets out of jail, he finds out that his girlfriend is pregnant and that they're about to have a baby. So everything seems cool and all that. Everything is fine. But then during the movie, there are times where, people in the Black Panther Party, this is why they were labeled as like a bad group. Because like growing up, I also thought, until I knew all the facts about them, I thought they were like a bad group too, because they were pretty much seen as bad because of all the stuff that was going on. In the movie, that there were a couple of times where they shot at the police. They would have standoffs and all that. The police even burned down their headquarters, which they had to like repaint and rebuild and all that. So there were times where they were going like head to head with the police. So I could see how that could make them look very dangerous, because it's like you're going against law enforcement at the end of the day. You're going against a lot, and a lot of people don't like that, when you go head to head against law enforcement. And there's a couple times where in the movie they also killed police officers. So it's like, I don't condone anybody killing anybody. I do believe in the whole nonviolent thing, but they were just so fed up. They were just like, we're through with this. And it was kind of like they were trying to make their own America. And that's probably why they were just so, the FBI was just so, messed up about that, because it's like, you can't start your own America. That's going to start like another civil war or some shit. But it's like, if the things going on in this country aren't right for everybody, then I don't think that we should continue to live like this. I don't think people should continue to be picked on and beat, and just like, because even there was a scene when Fred Hampton was in jail, and there was this guy, he was sitting at the table. He wasn't eating, and he had this, I don't remember what it said, but it was carved in his chest. And it just looked so gruesome and so bad. His face was just beaten so bad. He was so bloody. And he was just watching everybody eat. And then after, there were people coming to clean up and all that. And I'm just like, the jail systems at that time were just so bad. And I even watched this documentary after the fact to find out what happened to William and all that, because I wanted to know what happened to him. He did this documentary where he pretty much explained his part in the whole part of him killing Fred Hampton and all that. And pretty much what happened is like during that time there was this prison. It's kind of like this which is crazy. It's kind of like the ending of the third season of Orange is the New Black, when they pretty much was tired of the conditions in the prison. They overtook the prison. They negotiated about the conditions and all that. They stood in solidarity, but in the end, they found out somebody died during the whole takeover of the prison, and so all bets were off, and everybody was pretty much, they just stormed in. They pretty much told everybody to, put your hands up and all that, and everything was over. And so the bad stuff continued to happen pretty much. All the bad, harsh conditions in the prison pretty much just stayed the same, and all the prisoners they didn't get amnesty, they got, more prison time, and which pretty much happened in the third and fourth season of Orange is the New Black. So I think that whole part was based off of that part in history, because that actually really happened. And I'm just saying that as a reference to the harsh conditions that were going on in the jail systems, and just for people in general of color, because they were just, you go somewhere, you were beaten, you were told you couldn't sit wherever you wanted, you had to drink from certain fountains, you couldn't go to certain movies, you couldn't hang out with people, and yada yada yada. It was just a really hard time to live comfortably as a colored person back then, as a minority group, because I'm not just going to say black people, it was all people of color as well. But most importantly, black people, because they were ridiculed the most. For real. It was just a terrible time. And the movie really just depicts on how bad America was, honestly, how hard, how full of hate they really were towards this other group of people. But like I was saying, the Black Panther Party, Fred Hampton was very influential to a lot of people. That's why he was pretty much well known around, because of the way he spoke. He was very influential to when he did his rallies and all that. He loved the people. He would say all the time, I am a revolutionary. I'm going to give y'all a few of his sayings, you can't kill a revolutionary, but you can kill a revolutionary, but you can never kill the revolution, which is very true, because we're still fighting even today, in today's times, with the police. Black people are still going through it with the police, as even today in 2021. So even though that he's dead, his message was still very clear back then, and it's still relevant for even today's times. And that's crazy. That was over 60 something years ago. He died when he was 21. He was very young when he died. He was not this old guy. He was 21. So he also would say we're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight it with solidarity. Because when people stand together, that does so much more than just one person doing something by themselves. We say we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism. We're going to fight it with socialism. So pretty much, if we're not able to provide the stuff in this country because the country isn't giving us the means to be able to do that, then we're going to do it for ourselves, and we're going to make sure our people are straight in the between time as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. I thought that was a beautiful idea. We're not able to do the things in this country because of how it's set up. Black people aren't made to set up for success in this country. So we're going to make sure our people are straight, who aren't able to succeed, who aren't able to get those opportunities because of how the system is set up. What is wrong with that? I thought that was just a great idea. I think I'm a socialist. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Yeah, man, hey, I know it's frowned upon in America, but we're all a country of free ideas, so I just like their ideas. Anyway, he would say, let me just say peace to you if you're willing to fight for it. You have to fight for peace, pretty much. That's all the sayings I'm gonna give for y'all. But you should look it up for yourself. I'm just saying, he was very powerful with his words, the things he would say to people, how he would, get people to just hear him out, really. Like, even if you didn't believe his ideas, because sometimes, some people thought his ideas were a little too radical for him. Which isn't wrong, not everything's for everybody, but it's just the way he went about it. He just showed people that he loved them. He wanted better for them, and that was his whole premise for life. Like, even if he died, he knows that the people loved him, and he loved because he loved the people, and they said that throughout the whole movie as well. Like, if I die for the people, I die for the people because I love the people. Like, that's what he would say. And sadly, it ended with his death. William O'Neill provided pretty much the layout of his house, and the FBI went late at night and just started just dumping rounds inside the apartment. They killed one other person, and they just shot up the whole room. And he was even alive throughout the whole thing. Like, he would have made it, but in the end, he ended up dying because they killed him execution style. And in the documentary that I watched of his actual wife, she said the same thing that happened in the movie is the way it happened. He would have lived if they would have. He would have lived if they never came that late at night. They lied about what happened, and there was a whole bunch of controversies going back and forth. And in the end, it was just determined that the FBI killed him. Like, you guys killed him. For what reason other than him being a black man, him being a socialist, trying to provide for people in this country, give aid to people in this country, which we still need now. Like, I think we should bring the Black Panther Party back. I'm just saying. We have all these bad traffic stops that just happen so terribly. I would love for the Black Panther Party to show up if I get pulled over by a cop, so that they know that everything's going home, so I can get home to my mama. Like, how I just think of how beneficial they would be today, in today's times, and how much better our black community would be if they were still around. If they weren't portrayed as this evil, bad group and were able to still do the things that they aspired to do. Because the last thing that happened in the movie, Fred thought he was going to jail. They thought he was going to arrest him because his what was it? What is it called when you do a in court appeal? His appeal didn't go through, pretty much. So he thought because his appeal didn't go through, he was going to go back to jail for the 3 to 5 years for the stupid ass ice cream. But the FBI was planning to kill him. So he gave up all the money he had so that they could start the health clinic that they wanted. He was like, y'all in here talking about crazy stuff, and I'm trying to get a health clinic started before I leave. So he gave all his money to his people so that they could start that. Like, that's what I'm talking about. He was for the people. He didn't care about, he wasn't into drugs and trying to get rich off of everybody, and trying to, he wanted everybody to succeed at the end of the day, to everybody to excel. And he was just and that was what makes him such a great guy. So, I'm going to just do it. So I want everybody to do it with me. Wherever you are listening to this podcast, say, I am a revolutionary. Say it with me. I am a revolutionary. Rest in peace, Fred Hampton. And it was such a great movie. I give the movie 10 stars. 10 stars. It was produced by one of my favorite directors right now, Ryan Coogler. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He directed the Black Panther, the Marvel movie, the movie that was based off of a Marvel comic. And then he also did both the Creed movies with Michael B. Jordan. And he also did the Space Jam movie. And he also he's done a lot of cool movies. But I think he's a dope director, and I think he has potential to do so much more. Oh, he also did Fruitvale Station, which is also based off of a true story, which is really good as well. I give the movie 10 stars. Like I said, at the end of the day, it was a great movie, a great step into history. In college, I watched the documentary of the assassination of Fred Hampton, and everything that I watched in the documentary was the same thing that I watched in the movie. They honestly, they hit the nail on the toe with it, with all the facts, the details, the message, the story, everything about it was just great. So I suggest everybody to go watch it if you haven't watched it. It is on HBO Prime. It's on HBO Prime, but I watched it off of this app on my phone. I can give y'all the app. You can download it. You can watch a lot of free movies actually on the app. It is called Tune Radio something. Just type in Tuner Radio. So TUNER radio something. Starts with a P though. But it's a good app. You can watch a lot of free movies on it. I've been watching like everything on there. So that is the end of my podcast, so I don't want to take too long, but I did want to give y'all some, fun facts about the Black Panther Party, talk about the Black Panther Party, talk about the movie Judas and the Black Messiah. It's a great movie, which, like I said, because it's if you don't understand the title of it, pretty much Judas in the Bible pretty much was the downfall to Jesus. He was the one who pretty much got Jesus crucified. And it's a great way for the movie because, Jesus loved everybody and he just wanted the best for us. So they say Fred Hampton was kind of like the Black Messiah because Messiah is another word for, Jesus or the Lord. Because of, his drive for the people. So, and Judas was his downfall, which was William O'Neill. And I'm not gonna, and like I did I told y'all in the beginning of this podcast, I told y'all I found out what happened to him. It's not good. It's really sad, actually. After he did the whole documentary, I believe it was called like Eyes on Me or First Eyes or something. You can find it. It was a PBS documentary in like the 90s. I watched it on YouTube, so you can find it on YouTube. He pretty much, after it aired, he committed suicide. I'm pretty sure he just was probably very ashamed and was scared of the backlash. Because the 90s were a different time. There was a lot going on. There was, after the whole 80s epidemic, LA riots, all of that. So, yeah, he was probably just scared of what would have happened, probably. So it was sad. I mean, I don't think anybody should kill themselves. I think he should have went to jail, for what he did, but I don't think he should have killed himself. But that is the end of the podcast. You guys follow me on social media. My Instagram is SMH Podcast 96. My Twitter is SMH Podcast 1. That is the @ for it. SMH Podcast 1. And you can follow me on TikTok. It is SMH_photography 96. So thank you guys for listening to me. I appreciate you guys. Like I said, shout outs to all my listeners out there. I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you guys for sitting and taking the time to listen with me. If you're driving home, please drive home safely. And if you're listening to this podcast, just drive home safely, please. Wear your seatbelts. There's nothing wrong with wearing a seatbelt. And give yourselves a round of applause and give yourselves a pat on the back because you're just so awesome. I just want everybody to do that. I love all my listeners. I love all of you guys. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to me. I'm going to get up out of here. I just got off work, y'all. I started a new job at a casino. I'm tired. So I'm gonna go to sleep. I love y'all. Peace out.